Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Just the Tip with Dr. Vic. My name is Dr. Victoria Hartman, and I am the executive director of the Erotic Heritage Museum. So I wasn't quite clear on what this week's episode was going to be until a study came across my quote unquote desk just, I don't know, a couple days ago. And it was, at least from my perspective, a kind of bombshell study. Now, it I haven't found others that replicate these results, so let's just say this might be a first. Uh, Hopefully, others will follow. There are some studies that um, have looked at the same thing but through a different lens. So I pulled up another one of those too. But what the topic today is are adult businesses hotspots for crime, or are they just an easy political target? And when you think about going to like an adult bookstore, an adult cabaret, there's this, I suppose, stigma around going to these areas, although they've lessened over the course of the last, I'd say, 10 to 20 years. But at least in governments, there's still heavy regulation around adult businesses, and they use something that's called the secondary effects doctrine. And I'll go into that just a little bit. Um, and then I'll tell you about the study that I found. There's a particular part to that study that really hit me, that I don't know has been stated in a study before. Again, I'm still kind of looking for those. So, uh, okay. In in terms of adult businesses, the secondary effects doctrine, just simplified, is um, they need to be adult businesses need to be a certain distance away from, say, like residential neighborhoods, schools, etc. There's sometimes it's 500 feet, sometimes it's 1,000 feet, um, because there's this default attitude amongst governments that they attract crime. They attract crime and they perpetuate crime. Okay, well, what does the research say? So this is the study that just came across my quote unquote desk recently, the last couple of days. It was actually published on the 13th of July. So, yeah, 2 days ago. 2 days ago, this was published. I haven't been able to get a copy of it. But I'll read the abstract to you, and it's stunning, actually. So this research is called "The Effect of Adult Entertainment Establishments on Sex Crime: Evidence from New York City," published on the 13th of July, 2021, in the Economic Journal. Um, the abstract is basically, what they looked at and then what their findings were summarized. In this paper, we study how the presence of adult entertainment businesses affects the incidence of sex crimes. We build a high frequency daily and weekly panel that combines the exact location of non self reported sex crimes with the day of opening and exact location of adult entertainment establishments in New York City. We find that these businesses decrease sex crime by 13% per police precinct 1 week after the opening and have no effect on other types of crime. The results suggest that the reduction is mostly driven by potential sex offenders frequenting these establishments rather than committing crimes. I cannot recall that kind of a statement in a study. Again, maybe it hasn't come across my desk yet, but that's often also been the critique of shutting down online communities, that online communities provide an outlet and reduces sex crime. So that's a big statement. Okay. Since I didn't have access to the actual study to kind of look at how they were making that determination, I looked for a different one. And I found a study from the Journal of Criminology let's see, this was published in 2014. by a researcher by the name of Christopher Seaman and two researchers, Christopher Seaman and Daniel Lintz. Let's see, at the University of California, Santa Barbara, and it's entitled "Are Adult Businesses Crime Hotspots? Comparing adult businesses to other locations in 3 cities." So I'm gonna. This is a long study, and I have the whole study in front of me. So there's a lot here. So I'm going to go down to, in particular, where they were talking about sex crimes, and this is particularly on the East Coast, Connecticut. Let's see, Virginia. Um, let's see. Here we go. Sex crimes, and this is very sciency language, so I'm going to try to um, simplify it here. Let's see. It states that sex crimes summarized here are lower around cabarets than, like, say, liquor stores. Um, they had some of the lowest, what they call mean intensity values, um, in terms of what the research found with regard to sex crimes, and that they were lower than on-site liquor serving establishments. Okay. So they also looked at whether or not there was a difference between bookstores and cabarets, and the what they found was that crime is a lot lower around bookstores, um, but that around cabarets is a little bit higher. But that was more related to the on-site liquor than it was to the fact that it was an adult establishment. Let's see. It says while adult cabarets were found to be associated with ambient crime, which is unrelated crime, but in the vicinity, this level of crime was generally no greater than that found for liquor serving establishments that did not have adult entertainment. In fact, the intensity value analysis revealed that across the municipalities, crime generally was more intense around liquor serving establishments than around adult cabarets. The present study demonstrates that it cannot be assumed that adult businesses must be hotspots of crime merely because of the presumed features of the geographic areas that contain such businesses. So they indirectly uh, look at things like sex crimes around adult establishments, and find that there's a lower rate. But in this older study, they haven't actually equated the self-reporting of offenders, that they're less likely to offend around adult establishments. That's a big, big, big statement. I would have to say more research needs to be done about that, just as a matter of course. But the stigma that's attached to adult businesses like cabarets and like adult bookstores, increasingly the research doesn't seem to bear that out. So the question then becomes, why are cities and states are still regulating adult businesses in the way that they are, if the research is showing the opposite of what they're claiming they're legislating or creating laws around, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that these areas are free of crime. It just means that the research is bearing out that they're not necessarily the cause of it. And it's more likely that being around an alcohol establishment or an alcohol serving establishment is more likely to have an effect on crime rates. So that came across, my desk this week, and I'm still kind of processing it. I really want to have access to that study, but um, I just wanted to tackle this idea of how cities and municipalities are legislating adult businesses. So if there's stigma attached to it, and that's keeping people from visiting, say, adult bookstores to find sex aids and so forth, get find a way to gain access to gain access to the research, and read up on it. I would have to say it's, let's not stigmatize uh, the desires of others, especially as it pertains to them wanting to find aids and educational materials at adult bookstores and so forth, to find ways of adding pleasure to their life. So I'm still stunned by that study. Like I said, it's only 2 days old, so if I, get access to the complete study, which I intend to do, or I can find more information in other studies that might have replicated that, I'll definitely update you guys. And well, I think that's it for this week on Just a Tip with Dr. Vic. It's mellowed out here in Vegas, not so hot anymore, which is nice. We can leave our doors open in the morning and enjoy the morning sunshine. And yeah, today's a good day. Make it a good day for yourself, okay? And I'll see you all next week.